latest 3-week webinar from the Tree Council of Ireland. Today, you're going to have a few films and other things from Orla Farrell of Easy Treesie, who is on a mission at the moment to plant 1 million trees before 2023. And I think between this year and last year, she's about a quarter of the way there at this stage. So Orla, I'll hand over to you and let the show begin.
So my brain, I know my brain, perfect. It's called Easy Treesie for a reason.
Start planting. So while that film was on, I planted this lovely rowan tree back here, this very nice birch tree, and now just for fun, a cherry. So that one is the rowan. Thank you, Quilta, for that sapling. Then we have this lovely silver birch. I know it doesn't look like much now because it looks dead because it's bare root, but it's just gone in the ground there. And this one is just because I think it's very pretty, isn't it? I'm going to actually leave it on the table. So I had them soaking in some rainwater there. So I think now the work is done, so we can relax and we can watch films. And it's wonderful to see so many people here today. And thank you very much, Brendan, our Chief Executive of the Tree Council, for the introduction, and Siobhan, the Administrator. So you're all very welcome. So I'm Orla Farrell, and this is our project, Easy Treesie. So the project is part of the global Trillion Tree project. And you see behind me, young Felix. He's now, I met him when he was maybe 21, he's about 23 now, because he was in Mexico planting trees the last time that we had a meeting, face-to-face meeting. So you can see he's there with Harrison Ford and the Stop Talking, Start Planting sign. So if you haven't planted a tree yet on Tree Week, my challenge to you on this Film Friday is to make a film of yourself like I did this morning with some young friends of mine in your tree planting gear. If you don't have a tree, you know, you can just show that you're ready to be planting a tree. And, you know, you don't even need gloves, but if you were out in a public place, of course, you would, in case you came across anything sharp. I like gloves anyway. And And then at the end of planting the trees, we always have a little reward. So that's how the Easy Treesie project has had such success. We do things in the easiest way we can. So I am going to hand over to the children now who have made a film about how to plant a tree. Thank you, Siobhan.
I'm Kyla and I'm 11 years old.
My name's Ashling, I'm 11 and I'm planting a tree.
I'm Podrick Mahal, I'm 12 years old and I'm going to plant a tree.
My name is Gia, I'm 11 years old and today we're planting a tree.
My name's Eva and I'm 12.
Step 2 is you're going to want to take your tree and put it in the hole.
They take the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and then turn into oxygen that we can breathe in.
Oh, it's lovely. Very satisfying.
To plant amazing trees to save the world. The last step is to put it to bed with some water.
It's as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Well, thank you so much. Weren't they terrific? So I'm promising to tell the story of Easy Treesie today. And this film came about when I was my friend's third choice to go and see Naomi Klein in the National Stadium in Dublin some time ago. And I stood up and said that we had a plan to plant 30,000 trees during Science Week that November, jointly with the Tree Council and Science Foundation Ireland. So I got a big round of applause, and at the end of the talk by Naomi Klein, a member of the audience came up and said, "Oh, you know, I make some films. I would love to come and make a film about if you're going out doing any projects." So I said, of course. At the time, we were doing face-to-face tree planting all over the country. So Kate Bradbury is her name, and she came out with her crew and a drone. She's a drone pilot, and made that lovely film in Shankill. And Shankill is one of those extraordinary places where, with our ground director, Diarmuid McAree, they have planted not just one tree for everyone in Shankill, but they've kept planting, and now they've planted over 20,000 trees. Athenry is in the same category, and they have had people adopting trees right through the pandemic, weeding them, watering them during the drought, families that have taken on about 20 trees. And they planted 10,000 trees in one day on their ring road. This time last year, they invited me down to join them, and we've been able to send over several thousand trees to them this year as well in 2021. So I am going to go on now with another little film. It is the TEDx Countdown Initiative. So Easy Treesie have joined this in order that we are united with other countries in the world. Now, Plant for the Planet, which is the movement that Felix here started when he challenged every country in the world to plant 1 million trees with their children, that has grown into the Decade of Ecosystem Restoration with the UN. That project where we are planning to restore, we have space for 1 trillion trees on the planet, And here is a little message about this countdown initiative, which is still going on. We're going to have a conference actually on Earth Day. So I will let Siobhan play that for us now.
We start this new decade knowing that it is the most consequential period in history.
Climate has reached a global crisis point.
More than 1 million acres burned in California this summer, and massive floods put a third of Bangladesh underwater.
We now have one last chance to truly change our course.
We will plant 1 million trees within the next 2 years.
In Kenya, where I'm from, renewable sources provide nearly 80% of our electricity.
We've pushed our research to develop a concrete that may become a carbon sink.
We know we need to reduce our emissions and draw the existing carbon out of the atmosphere, stop the damage and start the repair.
And the only way we can do this is together.
So, let's get to work.
Louis Armstrong said it isn't the world that's so bad, it's what we are doing to it.
We need to start connecting to the future in an urgent way, because our time is the time that we create.
The world has the opportunity to build a healthier and more resilient future.
It is time for us to put climate justice at the forefront of our struggles.
Climate justice is linked to racial justice, social justice, and intergenerational justice too.
There is no rehearsal.
We need to do it now.
The time is now, now, now.
I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together.
I was that 12-year-old child. Now it's time to get to work.
So we call this a Film Friday. It's our first one, because we've made a lot of films over the years. So I'm a teacher, and I left teaching in the classroom 7 years early in order to get these 1 million trees planted by 2023. And you might have noticed there while the last film was running that I changed the tree counter. I put the last 6 upside down to 9. So we're now at 105,909 trees because I planted 3 more here. So if you plant your own trees, please do add them to the World Tree Counter, which you'll find on the Plant for the Planet website or trilliontreecampaign.org website. So a lot of people ask us why we are planting these trees, and the goal of bringing down temperature by 1 degree in this decade is a very important one because of the importance at the moment of, as you just heard Prince William mention, this particular point in time where a lot of our animals, insects and birds are suffering from global heating. So I was asked only recently for reasons that I like planting trees, and I said, you know, if you asked any 6 or 7 year old child, they would be able to give you, without even thinking, a raft of reasons why it's lovely to plant trees. So I'm going to show a little film now that has hardly been seen since it was made by Aileen Crossley, who is a Dublin filmmaker, and she invited a colleague to work on the script with her, and the colleague's daughter, Harper, she did the voiceover. Age 7, I think you'll agree that she did a great job. And when we launched this film on Culture Night last year, which was our 3rd Culture Night, Harper actually visited from St. Louis, Missouri to say hello. And we planted a tree on her behalf here in Ireland. So I think you'll really enjoy it. So over to you, Siobhan.
This is Earth. It's my favorite planet, and it's where we all live. We have lots of animals like dogs and cats and beautiful flowers. But Earth is sick because we put too much smoke in the air. Too much for our trees who take the bad air away and give us back clean air. When Earth is sick, the weather is not nice. Farmers can't grow food and people are sad. To make the Earth better, we all need to plant lots and lots of trees, because trees need our help to make the air good and the weather nice again. I asked my mommy if we can't fix the Earth. Can we buy a new one? But she said we can't. There's only one and it's priceless.
Thank you very much, Siobhan. Okay. I absolutely love that little film. They say so much in such a compressed space. So, yes, to make things easy, we have to do a bit of work in the initial stages, and then it pays off. We're delighted to see that there is such a great upswing in commitment to improving our environment and restoring our environment among the youth. And I had the pleasure of being at one of the Fridays for Future marches there right before the lockdown. And I met several of my past pupils in there, and we had a great day out, and we had several of the schools as well who had been out planting trees with us all over the country, because our project has expanded very much from where it started in Fingal in Dublin at my own school, and it spread to, we're almost nationwide now. We were actually on Nationwide on Wednesday night, and they gave us a great shout out. So we're very grateful, of course, to all our helpers. I won't start listing them all, because like a wedding speech, I'd be sure to leave somebody out. But we have actually, you know, I said to someone the other day, I haven't yet gone to a school where they've said, no, Orla, we don't actually want to plant trees. They might have said, we have an inspector coming next month, so if you could come back when the inspector is gone, and when we have that element sorted. And with big following among the business community as well. We're very, very grateful to those businesses that allow their employees take time to help us, whether we've had lots of groups come out to help dig the holes, or whatever way they can help us. You know, Salesforce were one of the first groups helping us out, and they have actually done a lot of the software behind the Trillion Tree campaign. So people who don't have a garden, or you don't have a farm, and they say, well, we can't plant trees, we have a little film coming up to encourage people to plant trees on their phone. So nowadays, you know, adults have the facility on their phone even to donate to Crown, which is our registered charity, and we ask for a €10 sponsorship for trees. So we use that then for the likes of treats for the schools. You know, sometimes, for example, at that Cork event with Birdwatch, we had to get a bus for the children because it wasn't very far away. Of course, at the moment now, we are following all the current restrictions, and so we're using local networks of communities where within their 5K, within their bubbles and so on, they are able to organise to do distanced planting. So we brought a little tree with us on our trip into the Fridays for Future March, and I took a little video of some of my old friends there doing Rock the Boat on Merrion Square. And I was really delighted to see that it was picked up along with a Plant for the Planet young person and put into a little video with Al Gore, who actually sent us, he sent us a card and a letter to congratulate us on our initiative. So anyway, he's put our Dublin children into this little film, so you might enjoy it.
I'm Al Gore.
I'm Nicola.
My name is Fatu Jeng.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda.
I am Fabiola.
My call to Earth would be to urge you to use your voice, use your choices in your life, in the marketplace, and use your vote.
I'm answering the call to Earth by dedicating myself to not standing down. Whether that be through being involved in innovative, planet-conscious organisations or educating students of all ages in my community.
I am answering the call to Earth by engaging in series of tree planting exercises within my community and beyond.
I'm answering the call to Earth by driving a hybrid electric car, by trying to rid my household of plastic, by conserving water.
Thank you very much. If anyone has been sitting down now for a whole 25 minutes, being a teacher, I always think it's a good idea to have a little shake. We have a lovely film coming up, the one after the next one, which is a very nice sort of meditation film for Friday afternoon. Very calm, very contemplative, made by Cian Gunn, an Irish artist living in London. And this film was launched only yesterday by the Museum of Childhood with Easy Treesie. And we had an initiative where trees were planted from Nepal to Italy, where 25 trees were planted, to Killarney National Park, to Limerick People's Museum, to the furthest corner of Mayo, and more besides. So I think you will enjoy Cian's film. Now, I'm delighted that Jane Fonda made this point about her car, because people wonder, will trees sort climate heating? So the scientists have studied this, and it will buy us 1 degree, which will give us about 18 years to find other solutions. So in the meantime, it is very important to decarbonize, because the trees are working as hard as they can to capture the carbon. If we keep putting it into the atmosphere, they won't be able to deal with it if we do not reduce. So, for example, I'm in a t-shirt. It's a lovely warm day here today. I've been running around delivering some trees down to Dublin Seed Farm this morning, and up to a local group. And I have a heat pump that keeps this house at a constant temperature, and we've insulated it very nicely. And we have an electric car, and you know, I would cycle. Like, I dropped trees up to Ballymun a week ago, and I took 100 trees on the back of the bike. So, but by choosing such things, you can really help, because if we all cooperate in this way, I'm very, very confident that we will see a big turnaround. So the next little film is made by a Dublin sculptor, and it's a little fun film about how you can use a phone app to plant a tree. Plant for the Planet have made this very good app where they have actually satellites now circling and measuring the carbon in the trees on the ground. So ETZ Zurich is the group that did the census of trees, found out that we have 3 trillion trees on the planet, and that we have space, quite easily adequate space to plant the trillion. Now, I will hand over to Siobhan to play this little film. Well done, Rory Malone. So now I thought this would be a nice sort of thing if you missed it today, that you would look at watching in a quiet half hour. So we'll take a question time after our next film. And if you have any questions, I think, Siobhan, they can be put in the chat. Am I right? Yeah. So the next little film by Fionn Gunn is where we sit back and we really relax and we take a deep breath and we congratulate ourselves on all we've done during the week. And the reason we picked a Film Friday is, well, I started this tree planting initiative following the chance I had to see Al Gore's film An Inconvenient Truth, which is came out a number of years ago, and I was so inspired by that film that I went into school the following week and I said, look, we've been talking about running the Eco Schools program, Green Schools, in the school for a long time, and I think we're doing most of what we need to do. So I think it's just a question of doing a bit of paperwork, because we're already doing a lot of green things, and I was willing to do the paperwork. So the Antashka program then was so inspiring, especially the element with their biodiversity flag, that we joined a number of competitions that were being held for Irish schools, and we started with planting. Oh, have we missed the Tree Academy one? I think we have. Yeah, that has to come. Yeah, that's most important. So we started with a Tree Academy where we planted 300 trees in the local park in 105 minutes. Now, this was the German template, and we do that under the direction of a forester or an arborist or a horticulturalist, somebody who knows what they're doing. So our project is chiefly a project for public land. So I've had a lot of people get in touch with me asking, could I send them a tree for their back garden? So, you know, we have a lot of excellent nurseries around the country that will organise a tree for your back garden if that's what you want. And our project is about getting communities planting trees on public lands usually. Now, this year we've had the cooperation of a number of farm projects, the Antashka Climate and the Climate Programme, the Climate Ambassador Programme, for which I'm a mentor. A number of these climate ambassadors have been organising tree initiatives around the country, collaborating with myself and each other. So a Tree Academy is a climate conference for children. So we held our first in the school, my own school, and after we planted the 300 trees, we in 2017, with help actually from 2 UK teenagers who came over with 2 adults, one of them being the UK Plant for the Planet organizer, and they showed our children how they ran the climate tree academies. So I'll show you a film in a minute of the most recent face-to-face one that we did. We've been running them online, and in fact the online version runs very well because in Ireland so many children already are doing really an awful lot within this the Green Flag program. So it's funny that Felix, the 9-year-old boy who started this Million Tree Challenge, that he also had seen that film by Al Gore, and that is what inspired him. When he read up, following seeing that film and heard about Wangari Maathai, the laureate from Kenya, who had won a Nobel Prize for planting 30 million trees in 30 years, he thought, well, you know something, that is something I think that the children could take on. And it has snowballed from that. So we'll play our little Tree Academy film now, and we'll see if you have any questions then after.
I'm Orla Farrell of the Easy Treesie Project with the charity Crown. So we have a great crowd here of children. They have planted 100 trees. They have gone to Stephen's Green and measured the carbon. Now they're about to put up a presentation in the Academy room.
How many centimeters are there? 40? Okay. 50. I'm not going to say anything. 3 meter and 50 centimeters.
We're students from Malahide providing education together in national school.
We're learning how to measure the diameter of trees, and then we're calculating them to see how much carbon's in them, so we can understand what we need to do to save the planet.
So it's great to be here today at the Royal Irish Academy in Dublin city centre, having our first ever Plant for the Planet Tree Academy being held on a school day.
How many flights from Dublin to London? So you fly on
the first 2.
We're planting 30,000 trees of quilted saplings during Tree Week. We planted 30,000 during Science Week alone, and now Trees on the Land are matching that with further 30,000. So I think by Easter we'll have 100,000 trees planted in Ireland, all over the country, with so many different groups, scout groups, residents associations, tidy towns groups, GAA. So we're asking everyone to come and give us a hand. It's the Trillion Tree Project. 1 trillion trees over this decade will save 1 degree of climate, which will help us sort the climate crisis. Million trees for Ireland by 2023. That's our goal.
On to our very last film, the nice, the really relaxing one. Now, anyone who wants to see more of our films, well, I mean, if you wanted to learn more about the cherry tree or the rowan that we just planted, or the birch, you could go to the Tree Council website and look at the film we made that has had thousands of views. It's actually an hour long, so it's a bit long to watch the whole hour now at this point of a Friday, but you could just watch the 2 to 3 minutes on each one of those films, or if you were trying to decide what tree you'd like to plant, you could look through those. And of course we include other trees like the maple and the beech and other trees that are common trees, not just from the native list, because with the climate changing, we make provision for that. So our charity is called Crown. I put in a little plug for that. And if you want to join Crown, we always welcome tree lovers. And you'll find plenty about our project on easytreesie.com. So we'll take questions after this next film, because that will be the end of our webinar. And I'm very grateful to you all for coming. Yes, because we found film so inspiring, and Éanna's film was such a help to us, because then we had a record of what were the trees we were to plant. We put our little film up on the web, and it meant that others could share it. So if you're planting a tree, we would love to see you plant the tree to inspire others, and you could put the hashtag EasyTreesie on your social media or circulate it any way you like. And in this way, I think we will continue building the momentum and end up with a song I used to love. I used to sing it at the end of every day in school with my class, and someday soon there'll be apples there for everyone in the world to share. So I think ending on that little prayer is about as best I can do. So I'll hand over to Siobhan for Fionn Gunn's beautiful contemplative piece. And if you want to stay on and ask questions, you'd be more than welcome.
got lots of compliments coming in for the tremendous work that you've been doing, not just this year, but obviously down all the years. Some of the questions you've already answered in the thing, like what sort of trees do you plant? Where do you get your trees? I know you get them from Quilta and Trees on the Land, but then what is Trees on the Land? Could you say a word or two about that?
Oh, yeah, so it is a charity. So Imogen Rabone is its director. There was a nice piece about her in the Irish Times there back a few months ago. Remarkable woman. And she had called her project 1 million trees in a day, and she has planted over 1 million trees. So if you want trees for your farm or for you know, for yourself, your garden, she supplies beautiful trees. I planted several of her heritage apple trees in my own garden, and it's a great charity. So as to where we get our trees, well, we support a lot of different nurseries. We have the local nursery is usually the best because they will often know what grows best in the area. So you know, a lot of nurseries have supplied us with saplings, and then standard or half standard trees. And then the councils often like to team up with us. For example, in Dublin City Council now, we planted a ring of oaks up in Tolka River Valley Park. There was already about 5 oaks, and we added another 5 or 6 to make a sort of outdoor classroom in a henge of oak. So so yes, local, and we're supporting local, and we look for Irish provenance as far as possible, and then we are sponsored with those trees. Like the larger ones, of course, they can cost quite a bit, even several hundred, and for you know, from Easter on now, they're the kind of trees that we will be planting, say in you know, we planted some on the shores of Carlingford Lough there along the promenade with the local tidy towns, and some larger ones as well. Often if we have public representatives coming along for a photograph, we get something more exciting than our saplings. They don't look very exciting when they're small. So I think that answers the question.
Another question is what is that tree that you have in front of you? I think you've already told us it's a cherry tree.
Oh, it is a cherry, yes. Yeah. It is a cherry, and we have 2 kinds of Irish cherry, wild cherry and bird cherry. So yes, it is very beautiful, isn't it? I thought it would be lovely there with that Japanese style film in the background. And yes, I'll find a good home for that tree now.
Okay, and a question here. What type of trees should one sow for quick growth and in location southwest Ireland? So,
well, Brendan, that can be your question.
I was thinking that there are lots and lots of options in relation to that. Most trees, native trees anyway, will grow fairly quickly in the southwest of Ireland. So it really depends on what you want, how big you want them, and is it a single tree or is it a little woodland or what is it, you know? But the answer there is most trees should grow quite well down there. Okay, that was tremendous. Or I suppose there's variations on some of the questions. Again, can you help if we have a planting project? Can you help us, or can you give us free trees?
Well, we say there's no such thing as a free tree or a free lunch. So we get the groups that take on saplings to commit to keeping them alive, because they are being measured by satellite. So there's no good us giving trees to you know, things that are free. Are they ever that much appreciated? We like to get a report on the trees. We ask communities to mulch them. Now, last spring was very dry, and you know, we are seeing increased unusual weather, such as dry dry spells. Did I water my tree yet? Well, rainwater in your garden, like having rain barrels, just lining up rain barrels so that you can be looking after your trees, stomping on the weeds, like just trampling on the weeds. That's enough. You don't need to do any more than that, or you could pull them away with your gloves on to mind your nails. So free. Well, you see, it depends. We get sponsors to pull the project together. So, I mean, our sponsors have to spend a certain amount for deliveries and so on. So, when it's companies, we think it's reasonable to ask them for a donation. I think, does that answer the question? They were asking about fast-growing trees as well, Brendan. Did you want to mention the speed factor?
The speed factor?
Yeah.
Well, if you can explain that some trees grow very fast, like some of our forestry trees, and others obviously not so fast. Oak famously takes a long time to mature and so on. I don't know if you want to say something more about that.
Well, the evergreen oak, not a native, it is growing very quickly in my garden. I wanted something evergreen. And so, in Ireland you find, I think that Mark Carling mentioned the other night on Nationwide that trees grow faster in Ireland than anywhere in Europe. Like, they are amazed in Germany when I say we're going to have a tree academies in January, and they go, January, won't there be snow everywhere? Won't there be ice? Because we can plant really most times of the year, and if it's a potted tree, you can plant any time of the year. So we're very fortunate in that.
Yeah. In fact, compared to Scandinavia, which is a big forestry place, I mean, trees grow about 5 or 6 times faster in Ireland. So it's quite a phenomenally suitable climate we have for trees, which makes it all the more pity that we've only got 10% of the country covered. So there's lots of scope to plant trees, and they should all do very well if they're taken care of.
Yeah, because they do say in Sweden and Germany when they're asked to plant trees, they have very little space left. So we have that advantage.
And finally, Orla, where did you get your extraordinary interest in trees from? How did it start?
When I was 6, a teacher that I had, the Ireland was celebrating its 50th anniversary at the time, and she held up this clothes hanger that said "On Tool and Tyrian, made in Sweden," and she said, "Why are we importing these clothes hangers from Sweden when trees grow so fast in Ireland?" And she told that story that's told so often, that the squirrel could hop from one end of the country to the other without touching the ground. And I thought, well, when I grow up now, I'm going to buy a big amount of land and plant a load of trees. And on a teacher's salary, I didn't rise to buying the big farm. So at a certain point, about 20 years ago, I decided I was going to start planting in my school, because we had a bit of space, a corner. And so that was the nicest school project I had ever done. There's so many school projects, they sound simple and they're not that easy. But this one sounded hard, and it actually seemed to be fine, because the trees just grew by themselves, and we put the grass clippings on top of them that kept the weeds down. And in no time, we had this lovely shelter belt, and we had new birds, and we had a stop to the flooding. There was a particular flooding problem there, and the buses were going by, so it was much quieter. And we had a sheltered place then where we could put in raised beds and grow a little garden, and everything about that project was lovely. And I thought, it would be nice if someone did that project with every school. And seeing as how there was nobody around doing it at the time, I thought, well, this Plant for the Planet idea, this Plant a Trillion Trees, I think the children can start, and then we will inspire the grown-ups, because the children can do it, even 2-3-year-old children. We've had a 93-year-old woman out in Malahide Castle who insisted on digging a hole to plant a tree herself. You can do this at any age, and it seemed like a fun thing to do, quite nice thing to do. It's lovely. I had actually been on Dublin City Council as a councillor once, and I'd seen how hard the people in the councils were working. most people are doing their best now to sort the problems that we have, climate and so on. And so when I phoned up the council a few times looking for space for the trees, I could understand all the difficulties that they have. And so in the end, they thought, well, look, let's give it a try. I mean, they've been doing that sort of thing with schools anyway. So we've just formalized it a little bit more, and we're going from there.
Okay, just one final question I think we'll take before we wrap it up. Have it here. Are apple trees good to grow, and how long does it take for an apple tree to go, by which I presume they mean to produce apples?
Oh, well, my brother, when he was 6, got a pip out of an apple and planted it in a little pot. People laughed at him, but the apple tree grew, and he planted it in the garden on the Rathmines Road, and it grew. And now his 3 children have been eating those apples for, you know, how long is that? He's in his 50s now. So that's how well an apple tree grows. I've grown several, they produce apples pretty quickly. You know, after 3 or 4 years, I suppose. If you get one about as high as my waist, I suppose.
Okay, thanks, Orla. Just a quick one then. We've had questions about the availability of the films that you showed. What's the situation in relation to that? They can get them on your website.
easytreesie.com. I have a lot of them up there. We've put up a YouTube channel. Now, because we're so busy planting trees, we haven't given it a huge amount of effort. We're going to be launching our new website soon. The website is a bit of a kitchen sink because we've just fired everything in there willy-nilly. We're very busy tracking and tracing trees just now. Yeah, you could start with our Easy Treesie YouTube channel and give us a like and a share on our social media. And but the main thing is to stop talking, start planting.
Indeed. Well, listen, thanks very much, Orla. I know well that you're a bit of a force of nature, and I don't know where you get your energy and commitment from, but long may you keep it up. Okay, and thanks everybody for joining this webcast. Thank you.